All right, guys, we're going to talk about something today that it's kind of come up in the comments. I've actually received emails about this. So let's get down to the actual truth of, have I kind of flipped? Am I now bearish on Tesla stock? Now, I know I hadn't put out videos in a few days here. You guys can tell still from my voice. I'm still recovering from our Vegas event that we had for our group members there. It was an awesome time, guys. You're really missing out if you're not over there. Tons of fun. I wish I could say Vegas got the best of me, but I'm just kind of boring. I don't know, caught something and I completely lost my voice. Felt like trash, all that good stuff like that. No idea what's going on there. But anyways, we're back and we're going to talk about this specifically here because yeah, I did lower my price target for Tesla and we'll talk about specifically that number and why here today. And yeah, I'm sorry, I don't believe that Elon successfully flushing the toilet is a catalyst for Tesla stock. But does that mean I flipped and I'm now bearish on Tesla stock, or have I always been bearish on Tesla stock? I mean, I routinely get comments like, hey,
how much are hedge funds paying you to talk bad about Tesla?
Or,
man, you must be on Legacy's payroll because you obviously don't like Tesla at all and you don't want them taking over.
I actually think this is a very important conversation to have because a lot of folks really don't understand what being bearish or bullish on a stock actually means. And it gets you into a lot of trouble and has you making a lot of mistakes with Tesla stock specifically. It's kind of the only stock on the stock market where these specific mistakes happen over and over and over again, and not because of the hedge funds or the hedgies or anybody else like that out there screwing you, but because of the bullish narratives on Tesla creating scenarios where people don't really understand what's going on with the stock itself in regards to the stock market. So you're going to get honesty and a fair take on all this, and I'm okay. Go ahead and blast me down in the comments if you don't agree, but that right there is what I'm offering to you. So at least like the video if you like honesty and fairness in your takes in regards to Tesla. So I actually started really hearing kind of the you're bear, you have a bearish narrative on Tesla way back in 2021 when Tesla was just moving like gangbusters and it got up over $400 per share. I simply said, it's way overvalued and I have no desire to buy a stock that's way overvalued. Even if it's a great company like Tesla, it's overvalued. So why would I pay $400 for that stock? Especially since I know when a stock gets as overvalued as Tesla was, it was trading at that time at a multiple of over 1,000. I don't want any part of that stock. And more importantly, when stocks get that overvalued, I knew it's going to trade down or flat for a period of years because so much of the stock gain had got moved forward, had got pulled into the present instead of letting it play out as Tesla continued to execute during that time. So I basically said, hey, I don't want any part of Tesla at 400, and I think it's going to trade down or flat for a period of years, which immediately got all the bearish calls and all the people just, trashing me down in the comments and unsubscribing to my channel and everything else like that. And hey, I understand. It's really, really hard to, kind of go along with something like that when all the other bullish YouTubers and all the other narratives out there are saying, hey, no problem. We know Tesla's at 400 right now, but 700 is right around the corner. 1,000 is just going to be a year away, and so on and so forth based upon these crazy spreadsheets and everything else that everybody had. But I know from experience, 20 plus years, that's not necessarily realistic, and that's not actually how the stock market works. It was basic fundamentals of investing, not me being bearish, not anything else like that, just basically trying to show you guys, hey, when a stock gets that overvalued, that's what happens to Wall Street, and that's what Wall Street does to a stock until the earnings and everything else can catch up and kind of bring that multiple down to more reasonable. And obviously today we're trading right around the 60s or so. I should have looked before I jumped on the camera here, but we're trading at a much more reasonable multiple today than we were back then. I'm sorry, at 1,000, you're only going to get so much run out of that before it comes down or it goes flat for a period of years. I've seen it over and over and over again, and it happens to all companies, guys. I've seen it with Apple, I've seen it with Google, I've seen it with Amazon, I've seen it with every single great company out there. It just happens. And here we are almost 3 years later from that time frame, and Tesla has actually gone down, not up from that point in time. But does that kind of mean I was bearish? Does that mean I was creating some sort of controversy, or everybody else was creating some sort of controversy to kind of hold Tesla down? Is that actually what happened there? Was I a bear and I actually shorted it? That's what created this downtrend, along with a lot of other people shorting it as well, in order to get Tesla beaten down over those 3 years? Well, in those 3 years, I actually waited for Tesla to get back down to what I felt was fair value, and then I started adding to the stock. And then when it got underneath 150, I was basically making max buys because I couldn't believe we were getting Tesla stock that cheap at that period of time. So I was making max buys on Tesla. I didn't sell a single share. I didn't sell any puts. I didn't do anything like that. I simply added when it hit my price target and went lower, and I added heavier and heavier and heavier as it continued to fall. Now, for me personally, I don't think that's what somebody that's bearish on the stock would do, but I know some of you guys still aren't convinced. And that's because there's a good chunk of you guys that are upset that I don't have the same belief in full self-driving that everybody else has, and I don't have the same timelines that everybody else seems to have had around FSD as well. So for me, I always thought from the beginning FSD is much harder than everybody's saying, and I didn't think it was coming next year, even though it seems to be next year every year for, I don't know, what are we on, 8, 9 years now? That's not me being bearish. It's just being realistic with the fact that, hey, at some point in time, you just got to understand the reality of this is extremely hard. And then when it does finally reach all the way there, which I do think it will get there, then it's got to go through all the regulatory hoops, all the political nonsense, not just at the federal level, at the state, and at the local level as well. And unfortunately, guys, if you think that's going to be clear cut in the United States, maybe in other countries it is, but in the United States, that nothing could be further the truth. It's going to be mad chaos during that time. Oh, and by the way, a lot of the legislation in some of the states that are actually kind of pro and would be very open to robotaxi and FSD and all those sorts of things, they've actually started rolling some of those things back. Now, I didn't see that happening, and I think over the long term, it's all going to get done and it's all going to get ready to go, and we'll have it there and it will be a revenue generator. I just didn't see it being all roses and sunshine and trillions of dollars to Tesla's bottom line in just a year or two. That's what I didn't see, and that's what I said on this channel. But maybe I just got lucky and I'm still a bear. Maybe that's it. And you guys are pointing to the fact that I said, hey, it's going to be hard for Tesla to 10x at the $250 mark, to 10x from there in any reasonable amount of time, because 10xing a stock in general is hard. One 10x doesn't have, not every stock has one 10x, much less multiple 10x's, much less being a mega cap stock, and then getting a 10x every, 5 years or so from here forward in a stock. That's unheard of, actually. It's never happened before. When you become a mega cap like Tesla is, it becomes much harder because you need that institutional money, and they just don't pay crazy multiples for stocks. They just don't, guys. That's a reality and a fact with investing that you have to understand. But Tesla doesn't need to 10x in order to be a great investment by 2025 or even 2030. Heck, if it just 5x's, heck, if it even just 2x's in between now and 2023, that's a great investment return overall. All you need to do is beat 8 to 10% in order to be beating the market, and very few investors actually beat the market over the long run. So you're still in great shape with Tesla without ever seeing another 10x again, or it being many, many years into the future. But some folks want to comment and email me that I'm a bear because I don't think Tesla's going to 10x by 2025 like some other folks do. And that's okay. We can just basically disagree there. But I must be a bear because I lowered my price target, right? Well, for that answer, I actually listened to the earnings call itself word by word. And according to Elon, Cybertruck is going to be hard and it's going to be incredibly expensive, and it's going to take more time than they thought to actually just have it break even, much less be highly profitable like we all thought it was going to be this year. Elon said the growth rates are going to slow while interest rates are high, and he's putting a lot of the plans on hold until we get in a better interest rate environment. Elon is telling us margins are going to continue to suffer and EPS is going to decline in the short term here over the next few quarters as they work through the macro environment and the ramp up of Cybertruck. Elon is basically telling all of us Tesla is in for some short-term pain while they kind of get through all this. Now they're going to get through it. 100% agree they absolutely are. But I also know Wall Street, and they don't care. If margins decline and EPS goes down, Wall Street is going to punish Tesla over and over and over again, quarter in and quarter out, until that turns around again. And since I already have all the Tesla shares that I want, and I'm well into bonus shares now, I only want really cheap shares of Tesla. So when I see a scenario that's played out and it's laid up just like this, not just from Wall Street, not just from a bearish article over here or, Gordon Johnson over here or whoever, but the man himself, Elon, says, yeah, it's probably going to be some pain here for the next few quarters. Why would I not then, because I have all the shares that I want, be a little bit extra greedy in my pricing for getting that stock at the price that I want? To me, that's not what a bear does. That's exactly what a bull wants. An extended period of time to buy a great stock at an incredible discount because of some short-term issues that will clear up to give us a huge runway on the back end for long-term gains. I'm being greedy with my price targets for Tesla, which the next one for me is at 169.69 because, well, all right, let's just have some fun here, guys. And then after that, when it gets down in the 150s, that's where I'll start buying heavy again. If you're bearish on a stock, to me, that's not how you act. But a bull who feels that there's an incredible long-term opportunity with a stock, that's exactly how you play this scenario, especially when you already have all the shares that you want. But I get it. Some of you guys out there may still not be convinced. So let me show you with my actions, because I believe actions tell more than anything any of us say, right? Doesn't matter in the end. What do actions say? So let me give you an example of exactly the difference between the two. So what I've observed is a lot of people who were quote unquote bulls on Tesla were listening to all the hype trains and all the crazy projections and everything else, and we're all in at $400 per share. A lot of those folks were the same exact folks, and a lot of those channels and a lot of everybody else out there talking about it, they were the same exact folks who were selling shares of Tesla at $105 because it's just guaranteed to go lower. And, Elon's about the Twitter thing and just the demand's dried up and all these other crazy narratives like that. They were selling at 105. And on the flip side of that, I was buying every share I could at $105 per share. So who actually acted like a bear in real life when it came down to actually show, are you a bear or are you a bull? To me, is the person who's bearish the person that sold at $105 or the guy who bought every share he could at $105? I'll let you guys decide from there whose actions show whether they're bullish or bearish on Tesla. And click this video here if you want to see other stocks that I'm really bullish on, and click here to see my exact plan for this market. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.